Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Hello, everyone. So grateful to be here with you again on Spiritual Rockstar Podcast Show. I've got an amazing guest today, the amazing Jennifer Urezzio, and I'm looking forward to talking with her about understanding the language of your soul to be a spiritual rock star. So before we dive in, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jennifer. Jennifer Urezzio is the founder of Soul Language, a paradigm that puts tangibility to soul so a conscious connection can be established to enable crystal clear decisions for success. Oh my gosh, that's great. So Jennifer is also a master intuitive and the author of 2 best-selling books. Currently, she has trained over 20 practitioners worldwide in soul language. At this time, there are over 5,000 individuals all over the world connecting to their soul languages. Jennifer has worked with and supported hundreds of successful, highly creative individuals with resolving blocks in their creative process so that new opportunities can be received and created. Her clients consistently relate how Jennifer provides an environment where they feel safe to open up and be vulnerable. She helps them regain their strength and express their big purpose and mission. And Jennifer has been described as liquid nitrogen because she has the ability to see the core possibilities within each individual's energy field. And she is a master at asking the soul-searching questions that allows individuals to understand and perceive new pathways of success and greatness in their lives. So I'm grateful to have you here today, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here and to be a part of your community and to have some fun with you today.
Yeah, yes, we're all for that. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, what is this whole thing about tell us about this, understanding of the language of your soul. I mean, what is that even, and how did you get into this whole thing?
So each one of us has 3 core energies of soul. We call those languages. And I got into it because I was asking some big questions and the universe provided some big answers. And the questions were like, okay, I know I'm here, powerful healer and teacher in the spotlight. That's great. Excuse me, it's 3 o'clock. Low time in my energy, but and so where are my people? And I'm kind of mad, like, I know I'm supposed to be a big service, but how can I serve people? How can I connect to myself and others? And what I heard was soul language. And I kept asking questions, and before long I had this paradigm to put tangibility to soul so people can create this conscious connection. So the word language is just a sophisticated way of describing the 3 core energies of your soul: your mission, how you feel that mission, and then your soulful personality, how your soul prefers to go through life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. So tell us more about that. You're talking about those 3 things. So can you go more in depth and tell us more about those?
Sure. So that axiom of quest, or that mission category, is really about, people are always like, why am I here? What's my purpose? And I think we often confuse that. And so that category can describe to you what your purpose is, what your mission is. And in soul language, what your mission is really about, what you're profoundly here to experience, and then offer that experience to others. So my language in that category is called equalizer. I'm here to have a purpose of being profoundly balanced. And I can create that perfect formula of balance in myself and to help others do that. That second category is really about how we fuel that mission, how we'll be known here. And those are words that people are going to describe you. So my language in that category is called teacher of integrity. So all of my life, I've been able to see where people are out of the consciousness of love, right? I help them get back in, which means back into balance, knowing that they're whole and complete. And then the third category about your soulful personality is really about how your soul prefers to go through life. Your soul has preferences. And I think so often we judge our preferences. So my language in that category is called graceful warrior: action, movement, courage, and grace. And so there's a consciousness of utilizing that essential nature consciously, or with the knowing I'm whole and complete, or unconsciously from pattern, pain, or struggle. So as a graceful warrior, when I wasn't conscious much younger, I would be at war with everything. It's really hard to manifest when you're kind of fighting everything. So what I help people do is understand the core energies of their soul, understand how they're operating in struggle, and move from struggle to consciousness. And you're going to experience struggle every time you want to up level, because it's a way of indicating where you don't feel whole and complete. It's a way of indicating where you want more goodness, more soul into the body. So that's a little background about the core energies of soul.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So I know that for myself, and part of my mission is to help people get into that alignment as well in my own way. And trying to get into that state for me, like on a personal level, and I feel this relates to some of our listeners, is how do we get into, because I've gone into you talked about like fighting everything and all that sort of thing, and I think like a lot of people experience that, right? For me, so that's one way of experiencing energy. For me, it was more like I'm going to prove something all the time. Here, I'm going to make something happen, and that was great until it got exhausting to keep trying to prove something, right? So how do you, I'm imagining you've got like some really powerful creative people that you work with that have the ability to be really powerful and to do incredible things, but maybe some of them probably got burned out trying to manifest, or gotten stuck. Can you tell us a little bit about that, like the burnout factor, where people aren't manifesting from the soul, and like they just just can't go one more day, like operating away? So many people I talk to are at that same place. So I wonder if we could talk about that.
Yeah, I think so often people don't realize that they're manifesting all the time. They're creating and receiving all the time. It's probably what you're doing is you're receiving exactly opposite of what you want. So for people that are experiencing, I call that kind of spiritual exhaustion or spiritual burnout, is the first thing I want everyone to do is just pause. And then I want you to go do something completely fun. Forget about expansion, forget about manifesting, forget about doing your affirmations, forget about, going deep. Just put all that on hold. Go do something fun, go do something that the mind is really involved in, which means that we're kind of treating it a little like a child, so we're keeping it busy so we can just relax. And then I want you to come back after your day of fun and ask yourself 2 questions. What are the things that I do or feel or create that bring me closer to experiencing wholeness and completeness? And what are the things that I do, feel, and create that bring me farther away from feeling whole and complete? And so often when we kind of make that list, we can then start to pare down those things that create separation in ourselves. I think so often there's so much metaphysical mumbo jumbo out there about manifesting that we forget that it's a natural way of being for human conditions, right? We want something, we ask, we focus on it, it is, right? And when you kind of let go of the attachment of what it all means to manifest, things happen much more easily and much more quickly. I always say, okay, clients, let's talk about your good noise pollution. What are you putting out to the universe time and time again? That's good noise pollution. And let's just focus on that. So one of the exercises I take clients through is, okay, if you want to manifest more money or whatever, then let's forget all the things that you've been taught. And let's just keep repeating that number in our head all the time. And that's all you do. That's all you need to do. And what will happen is you'll naturally do those things that help you receive that money. And what also happens is money shows up in crazy, weird ways that you don't even know. So when I first started doing that several years ago, I kept getting like weird refund checks in the mail. Or, like, hey, you filed a lawsuit with 60 other million people, and here's, $16. And I'm like, okay, right? So what you're doing is you're focusing on what you want rather than focusing on what you don't want in manifestation. And I think manifestation burnout comes because people are unsatisfied with what they want to manifest, so they're trying to fix it. So first, play, then write your list, and then decide one thing that you want to focus on with the universe and start repeating that over and over and over again.
Oh, wow. I love that. I like these little nice, focus points. I love simplicity. So I love that. So I love that. That is one way that I find myself manifesting in the business with money, is that I keep repeating a number in my consciousness. I might do the writing down thing and all that, but eventually it comes. I think the thing I've run into, and I think other people run into sometimes, is that sometimes we don't believe it's enough to just focus on it. It's like, okay, wait a minute, I'm gonna have to make it happen now. Like, oh, maybe I should do this. Maybe I'll have to do that. And we start going all these directions, try to create it, because sometimes we're told that, like, you do everything it takes to create it, right? So whereas, like, what's your take on that? Like, the people say, no, massive action, crush it, all that stuff. How do we, like, where this is more like what I teach, like, just focus on it, let it just breathe, and you'll be inspired to take the right actions and that sort of thing. So could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I think, there's a system I teach about really how to co-create with the universe, which is really an internal action and an external action. I'm action oriented, so I can think of an idea at the beginning of the day, and 15 minutes later it's out into the world, and that doesn't really allow a lot of nurturing time, right? So I've corrected that over the years. Action for action's sake isn't always crushing it. It's actually just creating a lot of busy work. And so often you're kind of pushing against the actual flow of the universe. So I always tell people, okay, so let's just write down all of the actions you think you need to do on a piece of paper. And then let's tune into our soul and see which divinely inspired action to take next, without like planning ahead. So meaning without going or sorting through all the reasons why you can't take that divinely inspired action. And what happens when I do that is the world just opens up. So a story about doing it a couple of years ago was, I got this hit to call this woman who I didn't really know anything about. We were connected, but I didn't know who she was. And I called her and I was like, hi, my name's Jennifer Urezzio. I hope it's, this is not crazy, but I just got this hit to call you this morning. I do this thing called soul language. She goes, you're kidding. I was like, no, I'm really Jennifer Urezzio. And she goes, no, a friend of mine and I were just talking about you. And right, so when you kind of get it all out of your head and then look at it and really tune into with your soul, it's going to allow that divinely inspired action. You're co-creating with the universe, which the universe is the how, people. So the universe is bringing all of those how pieces together for you. So when you co-create with the universe, you're actually working with the universe rather than the doing, let's crush it, which is actually working against the universe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just creates fragmentation. I want to say that's how I describe it. It creates, I always say, like, you can so-called like try to crush it, so to speak, and you might actually manifest something incredible, like, for your mind, like, whoa, look at that, what I can do. But what my experience is, for myself anyway, is it's not sustainable, and it's limiting too. It's only creates so much, and then you're just, I can't do anymore. I need to rest now, or whatever. Like, it's just not sustainable.
Well, because you're stiff arming the universe, right? You're deciding in your head that you're all of it. And I think another key thing when it comes to manifestation is really understanding what's source for you. So often people make a new client, a new program, a sale, the source, and that's just a resource. And when they make those things source, it gets harder to manifest, because then your safety is based on that thing rather than something true, which is that I'm loved and supported and provided for in ways that are tangible and ways that are intangible. And so often, if I'm feeling myself getting really down, like weighed down by that kind of, oh my God, I've got to manifest, I just pause and I go, okay, I'm going to tune back in to my source and divinity and go, what do I do next? And that always allows a lot of things to settle. And that also allows me to stop pushing and be in that ultimate frequency of receiving. You have to take action. If you just think your big thoughts and sit on your couch, it's going to be hard for you to receive, because you're still sitting on your couch. So there's always action to take It's about being in alignment and in divinely inspired action. And it's really coming up with that perfect formula for your individuality, about giving, receiving, action still, when you pause, when you move into action, and, really understanding your own personal rhythm and flow with the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm just wondering, imagining maybe it's possible some of the listeners are thinking, I know you told us about understanding your soul language, but I still don't know what you're talking about. So what are these soul languages? Tell them what you talked about, the three different, types, areas of energy. But it's like, I feel like people are probably still wondering, what is this soul language stuff about? Still wondering. So can you explain that more so it makes it even more tangible for people?
Yeah, so there's 107 core energies of soul. We each have three. So think of it like divinity, is this giant cake batter, right? Your soul languages are your three kind of flavors to utilize of divinity this time around. And so, they run from pioneer, which is a mission language, to mentor, which is another mission language, to Carter, which is a tone, to lawmaker, which is a how you'll be known here. And when you understand, when you have some words, what you know deep down inside, whether it be the word pioneer or lawmaker, what that allows you to do, it allows you to create a conscious connection. So what I hear time and time again from people is that, oh my God, are you in my head? Oh my God, you just put words to what I know deep down inside. So what we're doing is we're taking this thing that's so intangible and we're trying to put some good human words to it so people can create that conscious connection. So when you have your soul languages identified, and it takes a practitioner, and we don't do it with a test, you don't answer a bunch of questions, it's done purely metaphysically. What that allows you to do is it allows you to tune in a deeper way. It also allows you to read your definitions of those energies and go, oh my God, there it is on paper. I'm acting unconscious. So tuning in and asking, how do you move from struggle to wholeness and completeness with your soul will answer you. Unlike paradigms like Enneagram or hand analysis or human design, soul language is a paradigm to understand yourself better, and it's a living, breathing consciousness. So the paradigm is consciously and always being updated. Enneagram and human design, which are amazing information to help us know our inner workings better, those are fixed, right? What soul language does is it gives you a starting point to really go deep very quickly, really connect to your soul for those answers. So it's a structure or a blueprint to know your internal essential nature better, but it's still a starting off ground for you to really make a firm, deep connection so you can bring your own and tap into your own wisdom to create from pureness and goodness.
Oh, yeah. So tell us more about how knowing those things helps you to be a spiritual rock star, right? Like the way I look at being a spiritual rock star, for me, the reason why I got created is I was just, always these little conversations I have with a coach or somebody, right? So I'm like, yeah, all these spiritual rock stars, the way they're doing it, that's what I want to teach about. Like, Eckhart Tolle and, Neil Donald Walsh, or, people like that. And it's like, they're like spiritual rock stars like that, because I know they're really tuned in or just going with like what we're talking about here. They're going with the sense of the flow primarily, right? And so, but yeah, tell us more about how these soul languages then help people to be able to operate in that way. Because I look at something like Eckhart Tolle, and he's having such impact and everything. And he was able to just wake up and not judge himself so much when he's sitting on park benches for like 2 years or whatever it was. And somebody could just judge themselves, like, why am I doing this? Like, I should be doing something. I have clients that say that I should be doing something. And but sometimes there's a time when that's not true. So but anyway, I'm putting a lot in there, but how does this help people to be spiritual rock stars?
I think the key about being a spiritual rock star, or true spiritual rock star, right? Someone who's not only making impact, but actually words and actions are measuring up. I think the key to that is consciousness. And I think soul language is an amazing paradigm and tool for you to choose consciousness, for you to choose to be aware and act on that awareness. I think a spiritual rock star really understands, a true one understands, the more they know, the less they know. And that, in order to make a difference in their own life and impact others, it's about choosing wholeness and completeness, one with whatever you want to say, non-judgment, whatever words you want to use. They all come down to the same thing, which is, I'm whole and complete. And if I'm whole and complete, you're whole and complete. And I must treat you that way. Mm-hmm. But in order for me to treat you that way, I must know and act whole and complete. And I think that's what soul language does. It gives people an easy tool that's personal, that they can start tapping into and understanding their wholeness and completeness. And when you truly know that, you become an unstoppable freight train of consciousness. You can be an unstoppable freight train and not know that. The human will is amazing and can kind of, the universe doesn't have judgment, right? If you work the universal laws, it's going to respond. But I think a spiritual rock star works with the universal laws in consciousness. So what they're doing is in the greatest good of all, which includes themselves. And soul language is a paradigm to help people do that.
Nice. So what are some things that some actions people can take to learn more about soul languages, to help them to know what their soul languages are? Is there a way you help them with that?
Yeah, if anyone's interested, I always want people to sample the work. So I do a discovery session. I don't really offer it a lot anymore. I will offer it to your people, where one of our soul languages is identified. It's about a 20-minute session. It's really 30 minutes, but shh. That way people can really understand what that work is and how personal it is. So the first step on anything is a soul language identification. So if you want to do a discovery session, you just can email me and we'll set it up. I have lots of audios. I have a book that you can read. It's about 500 pages, so enjoy it. Those are all first steps, and people can start talking to their soul right here, right now. And I think the easiest question that we can do to start tuning in is, what do I need to know today? And I think so often we're at such a pace of go, 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 that we forget those simple things. And we forget that spiritual practice of any kind geared towards us individual, meaning, don't do a spiritual practice because so-and-so tells you. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't do it. And I'm not talking about resistance. We all know the feeling with that. I'm talking about, I can't integrate it with my life. It doesn't resonate with me. I don't get juiced about it. Spiritual practice is a key to listening to soul. And you can do that in movement and every day, or you can set time aside to really be connected. But I think listening is the key to understanding your soul. And, start there. Just pause once a day and just tune in and go, okay, what do I need to know? And I think so often we hear the same thing again and again and again from our soul, and we ignore it. So I would challenge people to write down some of the things that your soul has shared with you throughout your journey and see if you're still in resistance about them, and then tune in and see how you can move through the resistance from that.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Do you have some suggestions on how people would release the resistance that might come up?
Yeah, I think, I think so often resistance is based on not feeling safe. And so what I would say is just ask your divine intelligence, which is your body, divine intelligence, fill me with the feeling and knowing that I'm safe to release resistance on blah, blah, blah. And say it until you notice the shift in your body. So start with activating safety around that issue, that it's safe to change, that you won't lose anything by changing. I think a lot of people fear that they're going to lose what they have already, or they're going to lose loved ones. So start with activating safety around resistance, and then you can move to the next level. If you're just starting out on your journey, which your people probably aren't, they've been on the journey for a while, but this is a good rule anyway. Stop trying to do all of your spiritual stuff all at once. Pick one principle and really stick with it for a while. I think we kind of do the remote control thing, like, let me try this, let me try that, let me try, like, in order to get something. And so we're moving too fast that we're not listening. So pick one and stick with it.
Yeah. I think that's so important in so many ways. And I mean, it's somewhat related and it's just so fresh to me. I just talked to somebody today about working with me. I help people to be able to use their intuitive gifts to do energy scanning, scan people's energies and stuff. And I talked to her about that possibility. And she says, well, right now it just really feels like I'm supposed to focus on Qigong right now. That's where I need to focus. I need to do that first. And once I become an instructor of that, then I would do energy scanning probably and that sort of deep dive work. And so it's just like and it's like, this is someone who's really connecting, right? And listening to their soul. And I could have been, I think this is part of the spiritual rock star theme for me anyway. It's like, I could have said, well, come on, you can do it now, and now would be even better, and all that time. I could have gone that route, but I was like, I felt the truth in that. I felt like, no, that feels totally right on, So, so she really is listening to that, whereas a lot of people, I think, don't listen to that. They're just like, that sounds exciting, and that sounds exciting. Let's do it all. And then they're scattered, they're all over the place, and I say, I can't keep up. I can't do it all. And then their lives kind of just like are fragmented, and they're learning some stuff, but like their life is not really changing in the way they'd like. And so that's what we see a lot of. So I think what you're saying is so important.
Yeah, and every time you're looking for an external solution, you're kind of starting behind the eight ball, right? So, I'm here to support people. I ask really great questions. I help people understand and tune in. But I'm not your answer girl, right? If you're looking for the answers, that's not going to be a great solution because you're not willing to go deep, right? If you're willing to go deep, you want to find the answers within, I'm your girl. I think so often when we're looking outside of ourselves for that answer, we're looking or we're blaming this or we're blaming that for our happiness. That's a big indication that you get to change in a huge way, right? All what you need is internally. And it's really about going back to that basic and really tuning in and really connecting and going, okay, how do I remember that I'm whole and complete? How do I act like I'm whole and complete? How do I express it? And, finding those mentors that support that. If you get off the phone, and I loved what you said about your prospective client, like if you get off the phone with a person and you feel like crap after, they're supposed to be a coach, don't hire that person. Like really, tune in about what you really require and find that support that's truly going to be supportive. Because I think there's a lot of metaphysical mumbo jumbo out there that people will cling to because they're looking outside of themselves for life preservers, and that's never going to be supportive.
Yeah. What would be some of that mumbo jumbo that you've heard? What are some of like one or two top ones you hear?
Well, one of the things that really drives me crazy is when people say, well, my guides and teachers or my angels told me. And I'm like, okay, so did you agree with it? Are you in alignment with it? Like, great. I always hear my mother, if they told you to jump off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge? I think so often and I think that's an old level of consciousness, right? Like that's 15, 20, 30 years ago about discovering that work. And now we're at the next level of, okay, that's great. I love my metaphysical support team, but the answer's right here. That's a big one. I think another big one is with healers across the board, that they offer unsolicited advice or guidance without asking permission, which drives me up the freaking, like, I didn't ask you for help. Like, and I see this a lot with healers, like you should be always asking someone permission to share, and I think so often they're not taught that. And it's a violation of free will, and it racks up karma points for that healer in not such a good way. And you're going to get a lot of backlash about it. And so that's a couple, one. Another one is divine will. It must not be divine will. No, the universe doesn't have free will, right? What divine will is really all about is really about the kind of putting together all of those parts, right? When people use, oh, it must not be divine will, it's actually an excuse of themselves of not totally participating in their own manifestation process, right? So I think so often we hand our power away to so many things, and you can't hand your power away. It's yours. It's just how you're utilizing it. It's scattered. That really are not serving people. I think another way people do that also is, oh, I had a past life. And that's why I'm like, yeah, well, past lives don't get to play this time around. Like, you get to rearrange that. And I think so often people use that as an excuse of why they're struggling or why their life isn't the way they want, or because some healer told them so. And that also drives me crazy too, because I'm like, did it resonate with you, or did just like they get locked down in because that healer told them so, right? That, you know, they're so in that they've got blinders on. So that's a couple metaphysical mumbo jumbo moments.
Yeah, sounds like we could do a few shows on this stuff. This has got a lot of energy in it. It's so funny because the way you say those things reminds me of myself. I've said that, like, well, if I just gaze on my crystals a little longer, eventually things will work out. Like, I look at those things too. Maybe we should put a book together, all these different ones, right? That'd be fun. This is all these things that are just kind of crazy, you know, that people get themselves caught up in. It sound nice and comfort them for a moment, but it's like a pacifier. And it's like, after a while, it's like, no, this is not really serving your highest good to be with these concepts and these stories. And like one of a colleague of mine just recently, who's, you know, I really respect, and you know, it's deep in the jungle and the metaphysics and everything. So she says, you know, this is all just a dream and a big story anyway. You may as well make it a good one, you know, that kind of thing. So it's like, why do you want to go with these stories? Like, they're just kind of crazy. So I love that, everything you said. And now, where would people go if they, you kind of mentioned it before, but you say that you have, what do you call it for people to connect with you?
A discovery session.
Discovery session, right? Where would they go to take advantage of that? Or...
So you go to soullanguage.us. Mm-hmm. If you sign up for the newsletter, this is the only way to actually get it. You'll see, I'll send you a special little note welcoming you to the newsletter, and you can sign up for a discovery session from that email. So sign up for the newsletter, you'll get an email, and then you can do a discovery session, or you could go to the website and call me because my number's there, or email me because that's there, and go, I want a discovery session. Can you give me some dates? I actually have my number on my site, and this is another thing that drives me crazy, where people don't have their number on their site. Like, why is it so hard for me to talk to you, right? Right. So I have my number. I answer my own email. So I'm really accessible. So reach out.
Nice, great, yeah. I hear you on that. What I've been doing, I don't have it on my website, so I might be one of the people who drive a little nuts with that. But I do answer, like, people that go to my contact form. But like I have done that, and people are shocked when I actually give my phone number out on a show. Like, I'll be like, here, just call me. Here's my number, you know. And the shows I've done that on, and I haven't made it a habit enough yet, are the most successful shows I have of people contacting me. They're like, hey, yeah, I'm just so excited. I just wanted to talk to you. Like, so we make everything too complicated, and it's, you know, with all these opt-ins and do this and that. We don't have to do that all the time. And I love that you have it on your site at least, and that people can find it there. Now, what's your URL again so they can go there?
Soullanguage.us.
Thank you. Soullanguage.us, and we'll go ahead and get that in the show notes as well. And I feel like I could talk a whole nother segment about all kinds of things. Love your energy. I feel real kinship to what you're sharing. And so I'm so grateful for you. And if people want to check me out, you can just go to yoursacredpurpose.com and check out what we have going on there. So I'm just so grateful for you, Jennifer, for coming on, sharing all your wisdom, your great energy, and many blessings to you and our audience. And we're grateful to have you again and again, maybe in the future. So, okay. All right. Much love, Jennifer. Much love, everybody. Goodbye for now. Wow, what a pleasure to have you join us today. Thank you so much for listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.